Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. Shout out to everybody who's been watching and supporting and liking and commenting and subscribing and doing all that. Really, really appreciate y'all. Today we got another updates. We got this Drake versus UMG trial, this defamation case with Kendrick Lamar is not like us squarely in the middle of it. So earlier this week on the 7th, UMG, as expected, filed a motion to dismiss Drake's complaint, Drake's amended complaint. Okay. On 4/16, Drake's team filed an amended complaint, an amended lawsuit, amended paperwork where they changed a number of things. One of the things that they changed was the section about where they accused UMG of botting streams, using bots to boost the streams of Not Like Us. They didn't take that allegation away, but they kind of changed the wording of it and repositioned it. So they did an amended complaint. UMG had a few weeks to respond. They had a couple of weeks to respond to the amended complaint, and the expectation back then was that UMG was going to file a motion to dismiss. UMG filed a motion to dismiss the original Drake complaint, but now they have to file, or now they had the chance to file a motion to dismiss this amended complaint, which they did on the 7th. As I understand it, these dates might have changed. Forgive me if this date changed, but originally in the first pre-trial conference or the last pre-trial conference, the judge who was expecting UMG to file this motion to dismiss this amended complaint, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that they were going to do that. The judge said that they will hear this motion to dismiss on June 30th. So I don't know what's going to happen between now and June 30th. That's a little more than a month away, but that's the next date to look at, unless something changed. If something changed, I'm sorry. But that was the last information that I had. If somebody knows something better, please let me know. We're gonna go through this document though. We're gonna go through parts of this document together. Just enter full screen, make it look a little bit better. Does that look better or worse? Let's exit full screen. I think it might look better like this. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna go through this document, right? Which I printed out, read, highlighted some key points that I wanted to read, and then rescan back into it. So we'll look at it together. Drake, plaintiff versus UMG Recordings, defendant. We know this. And the headline to this is UMG Recordings memorandum of law in support of his motion to dismiss plaintiff's amended complaint. Table of contents is right here. Table of authorities, which are the different cases that UMG cites to uphold their argument. You know, what they're saying is for whatever they're arguing, using these different cases to say, hey, the court has ruled on this already and set precedent on how this thing should go. This is above I'm not a lawyer. This is not stuff that I mean, I understand, I get what it is, but I have no intimate knowledge of any of these cases. So, but this is what they're using to support their argument, all these different cases, variously. So, you usually kind of this first page, this opening salvo of this motion, right? Is kind of like a stylized summation of what they plan to do. So they start off right away with it. They use a Drake lyric from Successful. Yeah, I want it all. That's why I strive for it. Diss me and you'll never hear a reply for it. So they're trying to use Drake's own words against him, which we know is not true. It's a great lyric. It was an amazing lyric. When Successful dropped, amazing lyric. Clearly, Drake has responded to a bunch of disses. Clearly, Drake has been in a bunch of back and forths. This will have no bearing on the court. It's kind of a stylized thing, right? Each party is arguing their case to their benefit. They're using some flair. The court is not going to take Successful lyrics into account. But Drake, one of the most successful recording artists of all time, lost the rap battle against fellow artist Kendrick Lamar that Drake provoked and in which he willingly participated. Instead of accepting the loss like the unbothered rap artist he often claims to be, he sued his own record label in a meritless attempt to salve his wounds. Which Drake provoked is debatable, right? Depending on which side you look at it and when you see that this battle started. But you know, motherfuck the big three, it's just big me. Like Kendrick clearly drew a line in the sand. Let's be real. But also in which he willingly participated. Facts. Facts. Okay, so some of these highlighted passages. And this goes back to a little bit of what I was saying in the beginning of the video. On March 17, 2025, UMG moved to dismiss Drake's complaint. Rather than attempt to defend his original complaint, Drake filed an amended complaint in which he removed obviously false factual allegations, but added multiple allegations about Lamar's live performance of a version of the song Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show on February 9, 2025. So yes, that was one of the things that wasn't in the original complaint because the Super Bowl performance hadn't happened yet. So I said they also changed the section about the bots, but they did add quite a bit about the Super Bowl. So UMG says Drake's new allegations are astonishing as Drake concedes Lamar's Super Bowl performance did not include the lyric that Drake or his associates are certified pedophiles, i.e. the alleged defamatory material that is at the heart of this case. The focus of Drake's new claims that the largest audience for a Super Bowl halftime show ever did not hear Lamar call Drake or his crew pedophiles betrays this case for what it is. Drake's attack on the commercial and creative success of the rap artists who defeated him rather than the content of Lamar's lyrics. The amended complaint is without merit and should be dismissed with prejudice. Dismissed with prejudice means that the court should dismiss it and they should not have they shouldn't be able to refile. Like, hey, get rid of this thing once and for all. It is basically what their UMG is saying here, right? Another thing that's interesting, and this will come up later, but the fact of it, and this is a bit of semantics game, but this is part of UMG's argument, is that Kendrick actually didn't say certified pedophiles in the Super Bowl. And part of what UMG, and I'll get to that later because I feel it's in the footnote somewhere. Part of what UMG is alleging is not because certified pedophiles was defamatory by nature, but because Drake was threatening to sue the NFL if he did. So we'll see. Introduction, we know all this. They battled, high profile rap battle over the course of 2 months. Just interesting highlighting language here. Drake encouraged the feud when he felt at one point Lamar was taking too long to respond. Drake released a song goading Lamar to continue the rap battle. Lamar did just that, and collectively Drake and Lamar released a total of 9 tracks, each aiming at each other. Okay, we know this. We know when Not Like Us came out. I guess this is where they're starting to argue, hey, this is not defamation. This is just the nature of rap battles, right? And not just the nature of rap battles, the nature of this battle that was taken up, that was going on. Like all of the recordings in the feud and like many notorious diss tracks throughout rap's history, Not Like Us consists of a series of hyperbolic insults. So they're saying this is hyperbole. This is not factual. Drake was pleased to use UMG's platform to promote tracks leveling similarly incendiary attacks at Lamar, including that Lamar engaged in domestic abuse and that one of Lamar's managers is a true father of Lamar's son. But now, after losing the rap battle, Drake claims that Not Like Us is defamatory. It is not. While the complaint focuses almost entirely on Not Like Us, it disregards the other diss tracks that surround Not Like Us, as well as the diss track genre, and thus critically ignores the context of the dispute. So, yeah, UMG is just saying, hey, this is lack of context, Not Like Us context. This didn't drop out of thin air. This was one of many back and forths, and where Drake also threw shots and alleged incendiary things, right? And then also, hey, this is the nature of rap beef. Okay, so they say assessed in context as it must be. So they're saying you have to assess this in the context. Not Like Us conveys non-actionable opinion, rhetorical hyperbole, kicking my ass, and rhetorical hyperbole. Indeed, diss tracks are a popular and celebrated art form centered around outrageous insults, and they would be chilled if Drake's suit were permitted to proceed. So, also a lot of our concerns are, as I speak with y'all in the comments, video after video, what my concerns are is yeah, it will be chilled. Based off of how the court decides, it could change how rappers go at each other forever. At least major label rappers. I don't know that that's the court's concern. I don't know that the court is here to uphold the art of rap and diss raps, but we'll see. So we'll go through some of this now. Statement of facts, the parties. This is just saying, who UMG is, who Drake is, who Kendrick is. Drake and Lamar engaged in the rap feud. We know that. So that they're just going through this. Here's the part where they talk about, as they start going through it, they talk about push-ups, of course. They didn't mention the Whitney part in push-ups. It wasn't super defamatory, but what he was teasing in push-ups, that doesn't come up here. It's more about him about his shoe size 7 men's on, pip squeak pipe down, shit like that. But then they get to Tailor Made and they say this. Then, seemingly impatient with the time it was taking Lamar to respond, Drake released Tailor Made Freestyle on Instagram. The track uses artificial intelligence to make it sound as if the voice of deceased rap icon Tupac Shakur is rapping Drake's lyrics. In Tupac's voice, Drake taunts Lamar and notably urges Lamar to talk about Drake liking young girls on his next track. All right. And we know the lyric, right? Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift from me, is the lyric. So, there seems like they're starting to argue again what some of us have been saying. Drake was the one who introduced that concept of hey, Drake, I heard you like him young through Tailor Made Freestyle, kind of urged Kendrick to do so. Wondering, and I don't know, that's what happened. That's a fact of what happened. I wonder if the court takes that in consideration or if that has any legal bearing. That part, I have no idea, right? I guess that's what they have to argue. Also, so they go here and say Lamar responded with 2 tracks, Euphoria and 616 in LA. Funny enough, and why would they? But when they mention Euphoria, there's no mention of the allusions to Drake's son. We talked about this before, right? Like Kendrick didn't mention Drake's son, but I got a kid to raise. You don't know nothing about that. Like he starts teasing him about being a father. This feels like this is part of what antagonized Drake when, you mention my seed, now you got to deal with his dad. I got to go bad. This doesn't make it into the paperwork here. And again, it's similar to the last lyric about the Tupac lyric saying, hey, talk about him liking young girls. Even more, I don't know how much weight this has in this argument, but it is an interesting thing, right? So we'll go down a bit. And my bad, I'm not hitting every single point. I know people do that. You missed this, you missed that. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know. We'd be here for 5 hours if we go through everything. But I highlighted some points that I thought that was important that I wanted to talk about. But they go on and talk about family matters. We get to the point with family matters. And asserts that one of Lamar's children was fathered by one of his managers, Dave Free. We know that. Drake also raps that Lamar abuses his fiance. We know that. We know the lyric. Lamar responded with 2 back-to-back tracks, Meet the Grams, followed by Not Like Us and Meet the Grams. Lamar directs his insults to Drake and members of his family. So, they're being honest about what it is. Like, this was at Drake, but his family got it too. But again, this is UMG spelling out, hey, this is the nature of how this thing was going. Not Like Us was released on May 4th, like the diss tracks before it. Not Like Us consists of hyperbolic insults. So again, saying it's hyperbole. So everything before this, they're trying to establish that, hey, both of these guys were going at each other, saying kind of nasty things that weren't necessarily fact-based, but these things to discredit one another. And it's the nature of a rap battle. But this was also the nature of this rap battle that was established before Not Like Us was released, and Not Like Us was just a continuation of what that was. Taking up Drake's invitation and Tailor Made Freestyle to talk about Drake liking young girls, Lamar also makes various statements referred to in the complaint, including, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1. We'll go by. They just give more lyrics. Drake responded the following day with The Heart Part 6. There, Drake doubles down on his statement that one of Lamar's children was fathered by Mr. Free. which he did. That's just a fact in part 6, right? And why isn't Whitney denying all the allegations? Why is she filing with Dave Free? Like, if Dave Free really fucked your girl and got her pregnant, talk about breeding resentment. And he reiterates the claim of domestic abuse. I don't want to fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. Drake states that he expected the alleged defamatory statements and Not Like Us. Also in the Heart Part 6, this Epstein angle was some shit I predicted, and denies them. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never looked twice at a teenager. The track also contains further references to violence, including I'll slit your throat with the razor, and yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber. Your ass is in extreme danger. So they're just going on to that. Even after Not Like Us, like Drake still continued to engage in the battle and hurl his insults, but they're saying, hey, it was all hyperbole. Like, they're not alleging that Drake references to violence, but they're not necessarily saying that they thought Drake was like serious about slitting Kendrick's throat. This section, Not Like Us, a massive commercial and artistic success. They talk about all the success, the Grammys, all of that. And then it says Lamar performed a live version of Not Like Us at the February 9th, 2025 Super Bowl halftime show to a record audience. Okay. Here's a footnote in this, because 5 and then footnote number 5, it says Drake contends that the decision not to include the word pedophiles as using the phrase certified pedophiles. So the decision not to use the word, this is in Drake's amended complaint. Drake contends that the decision is not to include the word pedophiles in Lamar's Super Bowl performance could only reflect that the language is defamatory. But this ignores any number of other possible explanations for the decision, such as threats by Drake of additional meritless litigation. So they don't say it outright, but the rumor was that Drake had planned or had threatened to sue the NFL if he did it. That was the rumor, that was the report that was out there, that that's what people were saying. This document does not say that for fact at all, and it's not saying that Drake was going to sue the NFL, but it kind of points to it that they're basically saying, hey, Drake is saying it's clear that this was defamation, because if Kendrick was free and clear to say, certified pedophiles, then he would have said it in the Super Bowl. The fact that he decided not to could only reflect that it was because it was defamatory and whatever, but ignores any other number of explanations for the decision. Basically saying we don't know why he did it, but such as threats by Drake of additional meritless litigation. So did he not say it because it was wrong, or did he not say it because there were other threats of other litigation? Interesting. I don't know how that holds up, but that's basically what that's saying. Drake fails to state a claim for defamation. Drake, who had no concerns using UMG's platform to publish slurs about Lamar during their rap feud, now claims Not Like Us is defamatory. These allegations directly aimed at chilling legitimate artistic expression safeguarded by the First Amendment and New York law, and they cite a case, are meritless. So they're saying this is meritless, it's protected by First Amendment. This is artistic expression. The alleged defamatory material is non-actionable opinion and hyperbole. To be defamatory, a publication must convey fact, not opinion, or rhetorical hyperbole. And then they see Steinhibler versus Alphonse. So they cite another case where this was upheld. In this footnote, it says Drake claims that this lawsuit is not about the artist who created Not Like Us. This is not a lawsuit against Kendrick. And then they say nonsense. Although this lawsuit is baseless against any target, so UMG is saying it's baseless against us and it's baseless against Kendrick, it is plainly about Lamar. Drake's repeated insistence to the contrary merely betrays his recognition that his true battle was and is with Lamar. So, they're just saying, hey, Drake, and they have said this is not about Kendrick, this is about UMG and UMG's promotion of this record, knowing that it was damaging to me. And UMG is saying, nah, this is about Lamar. You're just not coming at him directly. That's just the argument that they're presenting. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. They're reciting they're citing a bunch They're citing a bunch of different cases that kind of uphold their argument, including Michael Rappaport, the actor, versus Barstool Sports. I'm not super well versed in that. Um, but this is the section where they're kind of feels like they're going back and forth about, hey, what is artistic expression? What is hyperbole? What are people allowed to say in something like a diss track versus what is truly defamatory? By nature, you know what I'm saying? Like it could feel defamatory. It could feel. We all said that calling somebody a pedophile feels crazy, right? Like for sure. What this really is, how do the courts define it? How is it defined in the courts? That's the big thing. It says exaggerated imagery in the music video. So you talk about the music video here, and using the music video to show that it was artistic expression, and Drake and Kendrick wasn't trying to express fact. Exaggerated imagery in the music video reinforces that Not Like Us is not intended to reflect factual analysis. The video opens with Lamar whispering to a clown that he sees dead people, a nod to the film The Sixth Sense, implying um hyper, implying hyperbolically that Drake has been defeated in the rap battle. The video also shows Lamar beating an owl pinata with the disclaimer no OV hoes were harmed during the making of this video. This imagery reinforces the non-factual nature of Not Like Us. No reasonable listener will require a disclaimer that the pinata is not literally Drake and his crew. The imagery is satirical, figurative, and vitriolic, signaling to the audience that the video does not contain sober factual analysis. That's their argument. Likewise, then they go into the cover image of Drake's house in Toronto with all of the red flags on it that they use for child predators, right? They're saying that image is obviously doctored, further underscoring the non-factual nature of Not Like Us. They're arguing that no reasonable person ever really believed this, right? Even though in Drake's complaint, they took a lot of comments and stuff like that, but a lot of that was from Twitter and social media. So again, it's like, well, what does the court define as like a reasonable person? Like who would reasonably believe this? Are social media comments enough? Or, and UMG is arguing the other way. The broader context reinforces that Not Like Us is non-actionable. The alleged defamatory content was published in connection with a rap diss track, hardly a form that a reasonable person would expect to convey rigorous factual content. And Not Like Us was Lamar's culminating track in one of the nastiest lyrical warfare rap feuds in recent history. They're quoting somebody here, but it's true. One of the nastiest. In a strained attempt to justify his claim, Drake points to a selection of cherry-picked anonymous online comments, which he says evidence the average listener or viewer has understood to reflect factual assertions about Drake rather than art or hyperbole. So they're picking now, like, hey, you guys cherry-picked anonymous comments online that doesn't necessarily reflect reasonable people. This argument is easily dismissed as discussed. Again, citing another case, the assessment of whether an impunged statement is non-actionable opinion is a question of law for the court based on an objective, reasonable, or average person standard. So, they're non-actionable opinion, like is this reasonable or average person? Like these comments. The subjective opinions of a handful of people do not factor in, particularly whereas here they are found in anonymous online comments. So they're saying, the subjective opinions of who do you pick? Who do you listen to? So this is subjective. It's just a handful of people and their anonymous online comment sections, which are notoriously unreliable. And they cite some cases which I guess where the court upheld that anonymous online comments are inherently unreliable. The comments cited in Drake's complaint make this point. They are rife with grammatical errors, slang, and emojis, and authored by sources such as at Wrestling Warrior 15, meow meow 1234 meow, definitely a bot, and I am Chicken Little. Yeah, so they're going at it. You know what I'm saying? Let me not say definitely a bot. That's meow meow 1234 meow sounds like a bot. Let me say that. Let me put my opinion in here rather than all right. Drake points to two lyrics to support his argument that Not Like Us leaves an unmistakable impression that is based on undisclosed facts. Say, Drake, I hear you like I'm young, and the rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. These statements cannot be reasonably understood as conveying undisclosed facts. Drake's claim as to the first lyric is particularly stunning. As noted, Drake himself goaded Kendrick to talk about Drake liking them young. So they're saying, if you're hanging this on Say, Drake, I hear you like I'm young, again, they're saying, hey, well, Drake introduced this with the Tupac lyric, right? That Lamar then did so does not convey anything other than that Lamar accepted Drake's invitation. In all events, the statements are too vague to support the weight that Drake gives them, as they have no precise meaning, which is readily understood. This might be something where that might benefit Kendrick in this battle and benefit UMG. Talking about Kendrick's lyrics, they have no precise meaning, which is readily understood, right? Kendrick's lyrics are often not readily understood. Right, this is what we talk about a lot on videos like this. Um, People apply 5 and 6 different meanings to Kendrick's lyrics. A lot of them be reaches, so a lot of times, so they kind of hide them. I just think that's funny. I don't think that comes up in court at all. I'm not suggesting that, but the fact that these lyrics have no precise meaning, which is readily understood, I feel like that could describe a whole bunch of Kendrick lyrics. Moreover, the broader context shows that both Lamar and Drake traded these sort of jabs. For example, Drake in Family Matters claimed with respect to his own unfounded allegations that your darkest secrets are coming to light. He makes similar assertions in The Heart Part 6. What about the bones we dug up in that excavation? For all those reasons, a reasonable person would not interpret these lyrics as conveying undisclosed facts, but would understand them for what they are: saber rattling in a rap battle. So there's that. Let's see. Facts and criticism concerning Drake's relationship with minors predates Not Like Us. So they're saying, okay, these rumors swirled way before the song and have been widely reported. Noting that Lamar is indicating Drake for years of rumors and speculation around his misbehavior around minors, and that Millie Bobby Brown is one of those things that most people are aware of when it comes to Drake and the rumors around him. In The Heart Part 6, Drake's also affirmed that he understood Lamar's statements in Not Like Us to refer to the Millie Bobby Brown controversy, stating that this Epstein angle was some shit I expected, only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. Clearly, Drake himself understands that Lamar's lyrics refer to well-known issues that have been widely reported. Drake's arguments concerning undisclosed facts carry no weight. So, just interesting. I mean, this is just what they're arguing at the end of the day. Like, what does the court uphold? How does the court see it? Drake cannot allege that UMG acted with malice. This whole section, in this footnote, it says here too, UMG released a rap diss track conveying the rhetoric and insults. Drake has not alleged that anyone at UMG intended to convey anything other than what this was, an incendiary diss track. Drake fails to state a claim for second degree harassment. So what they're saying is, like, legally, like in the legalese part of it, like in his complaint, there's nothing that supports his claims. Again, how does the court see it? The court is going to hear this on June 30th. Drake nowhere alleges that UMG intended to cause violence against him. Nor other lyrics are Not Like Us likely to produce imminent lawless action. This is the part, there was a part of the complaints where, they detail how Drake's house got shot up and make allusions to, if I got to go back and read it, less outright claim that it was because of the Kendrick Lamar Not Like Us fans, but that's what they're alluding to, at the very least alluding to. While Drake attempts to contort violent metaphors and lyrics into incitement, hyperbolic and metaphorical language is par for the course in diss tracks. Indeed, Drake's own diss tracks employed imagery far more violent, with such lyrics as "You're dead, there's no way to hide, and I'll still slit your throat." So, they're like, hey, this is par for the course. It's a rap battle. Drake fails to state a claim under New York GBL. Immediately after the release of Not Like Us, Drake started making baseless accusations that Lamar was using damn, I fucked up. Surreptitious means such as fake streams to make the song appear more popular than it was. Now, Drake has attempted to shoehorn his grievance into NYGBL Um, Drake claims UMG made materially false and misleading representations about the recording's popularity to consumers without disclosing that it was covertly financially incentivizing third parties to play, stream, and promote the recording, including paying others to use bots to stream the recording. Drake cannot satisfy the elements of a GBL. So they're basically like, not only did Drake make these claims, right? And there's more of a legal thing. He made these claims and then cited kind of another case, another a New York kind of law, you know what I'm saying, the New York thing that has set precedent before that, and they're saying, hey, these two things don't add up, right? First, Drake fails to plausibly allege a covert scheme. All of his allegations are on information and belief. So they use bots allegations on information and belief. If you read the Drake paperwork, a lot of that was on information and belief, which I believe, and I could be wrong, is the whole discovery thing. That's why they're asking for discovery, like on information and belief. We believe this to be true, and if granted discovery of the requested items and documents that we're requesting, we can prove this. Is this what Drake is hoping to find in discovery? I think so. Drake has also received information that UMG engaged in the classic pay for play scheme by paying to increase the airplay of the recording on the radio. But such allegations must be accompanied by a statement of facts upon which the belief is founded and cannot not rest on pure conjecture and speculation. And they cite another case. Here's another interesting one. After withdrawing his prior false allegations, this i.e., that UMG was accused on a podcast of paying to use bots to stream Not Like Us. Remember, I told you in the amended complaint, the part about the bots was changed, particularly the part about when academics interviewed somebody who said that Kendrick used bots. So after withdrawing his prior false allegations that UMG was accused on a podcast of paying to use to bot streams Not Like Us, Drake is now reduced to citing a different podcast host who claimed that Kendrick used bots so that the Drake record would have more dislikes than likes. Joe Budden podcast is what was cited in the Drake amended complaint. So they used the Joe Budden clip. They used a portion of the Joe Budden clip. But Joe was like, I think he said something to the effect of, I know Kendrick used streams, but then he kind of walked it back and said they all use streams or something like that. There's a larger clip, but the context is not all there, right? They just use the piece in Drake's complaint that bolstered their argument, but not the full thing. But so this Joe Budden podcast over here that they're talking about. He also relies on the now deleted anonymous X comment accusing Lamar of buying promo to clown Drake's lawsuit, not to promote Not Like Us, as well as another post claiming that UMG and Lamar used a bot streamer. Courts reject such online comment based on base pleading because online comments utterly fail to make plausible the underlying factual claims. So they're basically saying, hey, he hasn't proved, he doesn't have the proof that bots were used. He's citing Joe Budden podcast. They just say a podcast. They don't say Joe Budden, but that's the Joe Budden podcast. And then a now deleted anonymous X comment and another social media comment. And what UMG is saying is that the courts reject such online comment, and they cite another case. Thus, these comments cannot save Drake's information and belief allegations. Drake's remaining allegations are even more speculative, such as two X posts from July 2024 showing Not Like Us being recommended to Spotify users who search for rap artists. Drake also fails to plausibly allege that UMG had actual knowledge of any conduct or accusations concerning Lamar. So we'll see. Second, Drake's injury theory is that each time the recording was artificially streamed, Drake's songs received a disproportionate share from the pool of royalties collected based off streaming data. And two, every time the recording was played on radio, Drake lost the opportunity for one of his songs to be played. But such far-fetched claims are not cognizable. The proposition that a Drake song would necessarily have been played instead of Not Like Us is pure speculation. So yeah, that was another thing in the amendment, was that, hey, you're increasing the streams of Not Like Us, you're diluting the pool, you're ultimately affecting my money, and also with the allegation that you're paying for radio play. If they're paying Not Like Us, that means they're not playing a Drake song. But again, can he prove that? Like, it's pure speculation. You don't know if they take Not Like Us off the playlist, do they automatically put like Family Matters on the playlist or some other Drake song? And that's it. And we get to the end and the conclusion. The amendment complaint should be dismissed with prejudice, meaning that dismissed and never to be seen again. And that is the document. That's where we are with it. It's interesting. So I think June 30th is the next day. I still very much feel the same way that I felt. I I, I don't like. I think suing after a rap battle that you willingly participated in is just not the move. Um, I question Drake's actions there. I do think that this could potentially change the way that rap is that diss tracks happen, though that is not of the court's concern. But it's not about what I think, it's not about what anybody thinks on any of these videos or social media. It's like, what can you prove? What arguments will the court accept? Um, what is the what other cases have been decided that you know kind of weigh in here, right? Like that set a precedent in these cases. That was the word I was looking for. It's not, and sometimes it's not even about right or wrong. It's like, what can you prove? Who has the strongest case? Who has the best argument? So we'll see. I don't know. I still will also be very much surprised if this goes to trial. I can never see this going all the way, but it's moving. It's going right now. It's moving right now. And I believe, unless I'm wrong, unless the date has changed, June 30th feels like the date that the court is going to hear now everything that UMG just laid out, their motion to dismiss. Now, you know, is UMG right or wrong in it? I don't know. But what the court will say is like, hey, is there enough in this UMG document to totally throw this thing out? Or the court might be like, yo, yeah, let's see this thing through. Argue it in court, argue it for real, but we're not just going to throw it out. I don't know. I don't know. Or will they settle before? We'll see. But hit me in the comments, man. Leave your thoughts, your comments, and all of that. I'll hit you right back. Until next time, all right? Peace.